Hey everyone, I am Nathaniel Rufflejants, and this is Prime News. So our lead story today deals with Pokemon Go, because it turns out that Mew could be coming to Pokemon Go soon through some new events from Professor Willow. Here's the description sent out on the official Pokemon Go blog. A series of mysterious happenings is occurring all over the world, and Professor Willow is seeking trainers to help him find out if this is connected to the mythical Pokemon Mew. These research tasks will become available to trainers around the world later this week. There are two different types of research you can contribute to: field research and special research. Gather field research tasks by spinning nearby Pokestops, which will give you objectives that include discovering and catching certain Pokemon or engaging with battles, among other things. Special research may be requested by Professor Willow himself and will take you on a journey to make important discoveries. Both types of research offer great rewards, including a variety of useful items and even encounters with certain Pokemon. You can complete as many research tasks as you want every day, leading to a full day of adventures. These tasks also have different levels of difficulty, so the more challenging a research task is, the greater the reward is waiting for you. You can earn 1 stamp per day by completing at least one field research task, and when you obtain several stamps, you can achieve a research breakthrough to receive even greater rewards. You may even have an encounter with a legendary Pokemon. Research tasks will provide interesting challenges that will help you get better at discovering, battling, and catching Pokemon. We're excited to see your contributions to the exciting field of Pokemon research, and we can't wait to hear about the adventures you have along the way. Let's get moving. So this is a very interesting thing added to the game. It also increases the playability and replayability of Pokemon Go, which is already almost infinitely replayable. I think that this is a very good addition to Pokemon Go, and it's nice to see how Niantic is working hard to keep Pokemon Go relevant in 2018, almost 2 years after the game initially launched. So I'm pretty excited about this stuff. I do play Pokemon Go once in a great while. It's not something I use every day or even every month, but once in a while when I'm out and about, I'll be like, hey, let me see what Pokestops are around. Let me see how the gyms are doing. Let me see if there's a cool Pokemon I haven't caught yet. It's just a fun little thing to check on here and there. I know they also encourage going on walks and stuff like that and hatching eggs. It's just a really, really good game. I mean, can we say that now in 2018 that Pokemon Go is just good? I know there's been a lot of flack for this game over the years and it being on a phone and blah, 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 blah. But in 2018, I think I finally feel confident enough to say Pokemon Go is pretty good. And if you haven't tried it yet, maybe now is the best time to do it, now that the servers are stable. Anyways, let's get into our second story of the day, and that deals with Super Mario Galaxy. Yes, Super Mario Galaxy is running on a NVIDIA Shield in China. In fact, it is releasing in China just as they have released other Wii games in China, such as Twilight Princess. And this is interesting for really one reason and one reason only. Super Mario Galaxy could potentially be coming to Nintendo Switch. Why is that? Because the NVIDIA Shield uses the exact same Tegra X1 chip as the Switch. And the Switch happens to also be made by NVIDIA. So, that being the case, this does open up the possibility of obviously more Wii Virtual Console coming to Switch if Nintendo ever gives a crap about Virtual Console. But it also gives us an idea of what the game could look like. Now, we don't have any on-screen footage or even off-screen footage for that matter, but we do have some screenshots that we were showing off here. And yeah, you guys let me know what you think about that. I do think the game looks pretty good. One thing to note is that the NVIDIA Shield doesn't actually support motion controls, so they did adjust Mario Galaxy to run without them. The spin move has now been mapped to X instead of doing the little spin with the Wiimote. And while the pointer itself, it happens to actually be mapped to the right stick. So yes, you do still use the pointer in the game, but you use your right stick for it. Also, instead of hitting A to select a galaxy, you hit the right trigger. Very minor changes, but it's interesting to see how easy it was to translate Mario Galaxy into just normal base controls. I hope to see this in the future, along with motion control support as well. On Switch. I think that this is a good, Nintendo has a partnership with NVIDIA, so this is all legit and everything, but it would be cool to see Super Mario Galaxy, Twilight Princess, and other Wii games come to Switch. Obviously, at this point, I would like Twilight Princess HD, but whatever. Whether it's through Virtual Console or just some sort of maybe Nintendo Archive, since they're doing these arcade archives, maybe they could, release like Nintendo Archives if they don't want to. If they don't want to really do a full Virtual Console, I don't really know what Nintendo's thinking, if we're being honest. But it is what it is. Super Mario Galaxy is running on Switch technology, so let's hope that we're going to see this at some point this year or next year on the actual Nintendo Switch. It feels weird that if I'm in China on someone else's hardware, I could be playing Nintendo's games, but not on Switch. Anyways, the third story for today deals with a big sale that Best Buy is having. I don't talk about sales very often, but this is a pretty big deal. I'm not going to go through every game on the list. They're having a huge sale this week only for Switch and 3DS. And I'm just going to note some of the ones that I feel are the best deals out there. For starters, you got Mario Plus Kingdoms Battle for Switch at $30 instead of $60. Also, if you still haven't picked up NBA 2K18 and you like a physical copy, you can now get that for $30. It's actually been on sale for about that price on the eShop for some time, but the physical copy has still been selling for $60. So again, if you would like a physical copy, that is the best way to pick that up. Monopoly, which I actually own and enjoy, is now $20 instead of the original list price of $40. Fire Emblem Warriors has now dropped to $40 instead of $50. And I guess if I was going to note any other one, it would have to be Super Bomberman R, one of the launch games, still selling at $50 normally, but this week is now $40. There are a whole bunch of other sales that you see listed on the screen for Switch, so be sure to check those out if you're interested. I'll have a link to purchase these games in the description below. Yes, you can buy them online. This does not include any additional discounts you might get through the Best Buy Gamers Club. 3DS is also having some sales, and I really only, you know what, I'll just go through all four because there's only 4 games. One of them is Metroid Samus Returns, is now selling for $30 instead of $40. Monster Hunter Stories is now selling for $24.99 instead of $39.99. Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valencia is now $24.99 instead of $39.99, and the same is true for Fire Emblem Warriors on the new Nintendo 3DS for $24.99. So yeah, there you have it. Those are some awesome sales from Best Buy, and yeah, I mean, go pick up the games if you don't have them. I actually, if I get some money this week, might be taking advantage of some of this stuff. I'm almost debating on picking up NBA 2K18 physical just to save some space on my SD cards from the digital copy I have. Isn't that a weird reason to go pick it up when I already own the game? And yeah, Just Dance 2018 is one of the games on the list, and I really like Just Dance, so that might be something I pick up. We have one other story we're going to talk about today. There's a bunch of stuff that we could talk about, but we're going to end our first Prime News back. Yes, we're back to our normal schedule with the Manticore Galaxy on Fire, the Switch version. So this game was supposed to come out on the 22nd, and it was delayed at the last possible moment, hours before the game could release. And they put up a long apology, the developers explaining why it was delayed. That essentially breaks down to something was discovered, a bug, we assume. That's a really, really big deal. And there was no way in heck they could get it patched before the announced release date. So they have delayed it until a currently unknown time. But what's weird about it is the game has been available for preload. So there's a lot of you guys right now that if you bought Manticore Galaxy on Fire for Switch, already have the game localized, like sitting there on your system, but now you just can't play it. And the bug must be a pretty big deal because Nintendo themselves chimed in, and they are offering full refunds for anyone that does not want to wait for the new release date to come out. So there is that. What's really weird about the refunds, though, and I mean, it's nice that Nintendo's offering it, but you have to call customer service. So get on the phone, wait, and probably spend, a half hour or so, maybe longer, on the phone to get a refund. And they don't refund it to your car. They refund it to your eShop account. So basically, you're just refunding it so you can spend the money on another game. It's a really interesting thing to me that's how Nintendo's handling refunds. It also goes to show that Nintendo doesn't have a proper system set up. There should be a way in cases like this to request a refund through the eShop itself, and then Nintendo can consider the case-by-case basis. This actually does exist on other systems. It's not always true that you get your refund every time on PlayStation and Xbox and Steam, but you do get them usually at least the first time that you request it. And in this case, where Nintendo specifically says you can have a refund, in 100% of cases, if you'd like a refund for that game, you could get it. So I feel like Nintendo should implement implement a system where you could just request a refund through a simple button press on the eShop on that game profile page or something like that. Or even if it's a preloaded game, if you could like hit the X button and bring up the menu, and then instead of like Amiibo support or whatever the case may be, or claiming gold coins for it or something, they have an option in there that says, hey, request a refund. And there's obviously restrictions you have to put in place with that for a system like that. A lot of times it has to be for pre-orders. If Nintendo wants to make it only for pre-orders, aka you can't request a refund after you've played the game. We know that Steam gives you like a limited time you can play the game before you request a refund, but some indie games can be beaten that limited time, so you can basically play games for free. No system's been perfect, but it would be nice for Nintendo to at least improve for situations specific to this, where a developer delays something and people might just not want to wait and use that money on something else. That's going to do it for today's episode of Prime News. As I said, it feels good to be back. For those who don't know, we took a break from Prime News and basically videos in general, especially over the weekend, because my mother was in the hospital all of last week. She went septic. She is at home now. She's been released after being in the hospital for a week. She's not fully 100% recovered, but she is well enough now to be home. Lots and lots of sleep needed. She's still not on a normal eating diet yet, and who knows, I'm hoping she doesn't have to go back to the hospital if things turn for the worse. But I talked to her today. She looks good. Looks way better than she did a week ago. Everything's probably going to be fine. And with that behind me, I'm now able to refocus on my passion here at Nintendo Prime, and that is delivering content to you guys, and in this case, delivering news. Also, before I sign out, I want to let you guys know that we have relaunched NintendoPrime.net recently. Brand new layout, and NintendoPrime.net is where you can go to get a bunch of additional news. As an example, this Prime News had 4 stories in it. We're going to have probably 10 plus hitting on the site today. These 4 stories, and then obviously more, and this episode of Prime News will also be available there, as is every episode of the podcast and pretty much every video we do but our live streams. It is a great way to consume extra content that we are creating just for you guys out there if you want extra stuff. We'll have a link to the website down in the description below. And I don't mention this enough, but you could also support us on patreon.com/Nintendo Prime. That's where you can literally subscribe to us for a set amount of money and get little perks like early access to the podcast or access to the live stream of the podcast. In the future, potentially being able to pick a game that we play on live streams, or be able to get priority for playing multiplayer games with me on a live stream, or whatever the case may be. It's also really just the best way to show your support for us in terms of helping us do this for a living. Prime News and Nintendo Prime and podcasts and everything we do here is my full-time job. And all of your support makes it possible. So thanks to all of our current patrons and anyone considering becoming one in the future. Again, patreon.com/Nintendo Prime. All right, folks, finally, that's a long sign up, but we're done. That's the end of this episode of Prime News. And you know what, folks? Like this video, especially if you want to see more videos of mine, because you need to interact with the video in order for YouTube to send you more of our videos, even if you're subscribed. Or you can just go hit the bell icon. All right, folks. Peace.